Welcome back, everyone, to the Coach Approach. It's your Coach Bucky the Black Baker, and today we're gonna be looking at 6 easy ways to win top lane every time. Just every time. It's the simple truth. And then on the main screen it says the most important tips for top lane. So I'm not gonna lie, it's already look like a clickbait video. I don't know, but we'll see. As I said before, we don't do these to criticize. We don't do these to make fun of. We do these to see if the information is factual or infactual. Or fictional. Infactual. I think that's a word too, but it doesn't mean but anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Oh, one more last thing before we get started. Remember, you guys have until May 14th to redeem the VOD reviews for Valorant and the VOD reviews for League of Legends. So make sure you guys do that. It's about to end. I see some of you guys already climbing. Some of you guys already submitted yours. Good job to you guys. Clearly it's working, and I'm glad to see you guys climbing. So let's do this.
Episode, you will learn the most important tips for top lane matchups. We will be covering how to play against melee and ranged champions and what your goals should be heading into the lane. Keystone knowledge, trading patterns, strong side versus weak side, playing fog, all of these and more will be talked about, so don't go anywhere because all of these tips are essential if you are to become the best top laner. Remember to help a video out and leave a like, we really appreciate it. Subscribe so you don't miss any of our daily uploads. Quick shout out to our website, Game Leader in
I'm just gonna get past it because it's
made by Challenge 2 in melee versus melee matchups. The first thing I want you guys to think about is your keystone and theirs. This is the determining factor in how you go about dueling your opponent. The most common ones for top lane are Grasp of the Undying and Conqueror. Both are different and require different playstyles. We want how we play to resonate with what we're playing and running. There has to be intention behind our rune setups, fam, and it helps us to envision how the lane will play out. For example, Grasp is all about short trading and is great in the early game. When auto-attacking an enemy champion with Grasp stacked, you steal some of their health and heal yourself in the process. It has a 4-second cooldown, so your goal is to duel the enemy champion with Grasp stacked and disengage. Rinse and repeat until you out-sustain the enemy top laner and force them to back. Grasp is ideal on champions like Gangplank and Shen. Conqueror, on the other hand, is all about long trading and scales incredibly well. For top laners that heavily rely on auto attacks, Conqueror is the optimal choice. As a melee champion, each auto attack and ability that hits an enemy champion grants 2 stacks. Each stack you gain bonus adaptive force, and at 12 stacks you heal off your damage dealt. Champions like Aurelia and Riven thrive when using Conqueror. All of a sudden, we know to a certain extent how to play against the enemy champion based on their keystone of choice. Next,
I mean, solid. The only thing I want to add is you also want to pay attention to the secondaries. You can't really see it. I mean, obviously there's, apps to help you see it, but let's say you don't use any of those apps. You can't really see it, so you just got to pay attention. So for instance, like bone plating, to probably break the plating before you then go to trade with that person. Or coup de grace, not to be too low because they'll get bonus damage. Just simple stuff like that. But for the most part, I agree. Everything that he just said there, that was smooth. That was solid. Good examples. Nothing where it looks too fake. You don't have to make anything look amazing when you're dealing with it. You show me a champ that uses Grasp. You show me a champ that uses Conquer. Bada boom. So good so far.
Next thing I want us to focus on is fighting for level 2. So level 2 is arguably the most important level up in League of Legends because your power essentially doubles in terms of cooldowns. There's 2 against 1. It doesn't matter how good or how bad the matchup is, you will always win a fight.
That's not true. There's a lot of champs that will lose a fight even versus a 1v2. But for the most part, I mean, it's still kind of right. You do want to fight for that level 2, but you don't win every single one, trust me.
It is very important to remember what minion and wave you hit level 2 off, because you can catch your enemy unaware and potentially kill them. What minion do you hit level 2 off then? What's the second wave, first melee minion? If you got that, good job. If the enemy laner is matching you by auto-attacking the wave themselves to try hit level 2, hit the first melee minion of the second wave to get to the power spike quicker. There is no point in hitting multiple melee minions because you are postponing your power, man. The third tip for those melee against melee matchups is trade patterns, and this is purely micro-based. In other words, what you're doing with your hotkeys and mouse clicks. It is essential if you are to become a better player to think about how the first 3 levels and level 6 play out in terms of fighting. Each level is different because new abilities add a new dynamic to the lane. At level 6 for example, ultimates are now leveled up and the matchup may favor one champion over the other just because of one of these ability spikes. Some top laners like Gangplank and Shen have global ultimates that are best used to support their teammates. Of course, you can use your GP ultimate for yourself, but other ultimates like Malphite's Unstoppable Force, Fiora's Grand Challenge, and Darius's Noxian Guillotine are a lot more impactful in the 1v1. How do we go about using these abilities? Well, it depends on the champion you're playing and the matchup for sure, but there are 3 types of trade patterns. There's All In, which is when you fight, you do so until one of you dies. You trade, which is when you fight, it's short and sweet based on your cooldowns. And you poke. You want to harass the enemy champion for free. All-in champions include Darius and Aurelia, especially if they land their CC. Champions that want short trades include Vladimir and Wukong. And champions that want to poke include Teemo and Quinn. Now, some of these champions can cross between trade and...
Yeah, I was going to say, some of those champions are... They're definitely going to be more than just what he just said, but at least he said it, so.
All in or poke and trade, but understanding how a champion should efficiently trade will help you guys out immensely. Strong side versus weak side is our next tip, and this is one influence in knowing when to fight as a top laner. Do you guys think it's a good idea to fight if there is a strong possibility of more enemy champions being close to your lane? Or would you rather fight when you have teammates close to you? This is what defines strong side and weak side of the map. The strong side equals more players, the weak side equals less players. In the early game, playing the strong side of the map will most of the time mean your jungler is top side and the enemy jungler is bot side. As a result, you want to force fights with the enemy top laner so you can soften them up for a gank or dive. If the enemy team was to gain something on the other side of the map, like a kill, objective, or advantage in jungle camps, let's say, then you must create a winning situation on your side of the map. And being passive in lane is not the solution. Being passive in lane is the solution, however, when you are on the weaker side of the map. In other words, you want to avoid fighting until the map is neutralized or you have more members topside. If your team is able to win the bottom side of the map, you win the entire map by staying alive. For that mini situation, you dying is the compensation for the enemy team, so don't give them any opportunities. Don't give them any compensation. Play safe and respect the weak side. The last tip for the melee matchups is TP versus Ignite. In a straight up 1v1, which summoner spell is more useful? Ignite, obviously. So whoever is running Ignite should have the upper hand in duels, and it's commonly run in low elo. This effectively acts as another cooldown. How many of you have died to Ignite and you didn't even realize the enemy top laner had Ignite? I think most of us have. So at level 1, for example, instead of being one ability versus one ability, it's 1 against 2. And thinking like this will result in you playing more efficiently. You will maximize those gains and minimize those losses. If both laners are running teleport, then nothing changes in terms of trading. What we envisioned before the game started remains true, and we stick to our plan. One of the most common questions I get asked is, what do I do into ranged champions as a melee? Well, just leave, I guess. Hey, I'm joking, of
True.
course.
Nah,
most level players
just leave. True, dude. That's painful.
think that ranged champions never lose top lane.
They do.
Well, they do. And if that was the case, then every high elo top laner would ban Quinn, Teemo, Vayne, and the like. So here are some key tips when playing into ranged champions. Respect the poke. Your goal for the lane is to hit your level 3 safely most of the time, because at level 3 you have 3 basic abilities and should be a lot safer in lane. So what does safer mean? This correlates to health. You do not want to take significant harass for CS. It's important to value your health way more than gold from the minions. You have to accept that the early stages are going to be rough, but they will become even harder if you get chunked for going for 14 gold, which is a melee minion. Give up farm and hit your levels so you can actually play the lane. Even if you hit level 3 or level 6, and these are generally your points of power, they mean nothing if you are under half HP after the first couple of waves. Do not cuck yourselves, game leapers, and respect the poke early on. Tip number 2, into ranged matchups, playing fog. One of the keys to making the lane more playable is using the brushes. Because the brushes conceal you, it means the enemy laner cannot harass you unless they have it warded. The great thing about top lane is that there are 3 brushes to utilize, so you have more chance of staying healthier in lane. They are also great ambush points. After shoving the wave, you can try bait the enemy top laner into face checking one of the brushes. This turns the melee versus range matchup into a melee versus melee matchup, and that's exactly what you want.
Why did that look so like scripted? I'm not saying it was, but like that, he seen him go in there and he just... What?
Who here has questioned their ADC when they headbutt the enemy Ornn or Maokai? That's what we're doing here, so play the fog. Tip number 3 for playing against ranged champions is patience, and it relates to tip number 1, respecting the poke. Yes, we play League of Legends to have fun and test our limits to see what we are capable of, but we need to know when to test those limits. Doing it level 1 as a Garen into a Teemo isn't going to end well.
True.
We have to realize that ranged champions have chase potential. You may gap close to them as Garen, but eventually you are going to run out of cooldowns and health because the ranged champion can retaliate when you are running away. This often results from being impatient and trying to win the lane before it's even started. The higher you climb, the more these little details matter, and if you are going to climb, they matter right now. Wait for that power spike and away you go. Punishing enemy mistakes. Tip number 4. The pressure is on the ranged champion to win their lane. Ranged champions are a lot less forgiving than tanks and bruisers, so it's important to keep this in mind.
Yep.
One mistake on Vayne, one mistake on Vladimir, and the lane becomes infinitely harder.
Yep.
In lower levels of play, mistakes are commonplace, so there will be plenty of opportunities for you to engage and win the fight. The enemy might overextend or trade in your minion wave or take a tower shot. That's your green light. This carries on to tip number 5, and that's pinging your jungler to punish even more. Ranged champions will typically push into you, so the lane is always gankable for your jungler. Because you will have a lot of enemy minions in front of you.
I will say, don't spam ping, okay? Junglers don't like when you're ping. People see you. When I'm jungle, I see you, right? When I'm in the lane, it feels like they don't see you, but they see you. Depending on if they want to come as their choice, but like, you don't need to ping, because then I'll just mute you, or they'll just mute you. And then you'll be like, well, why is he not helping? Well, because he turned your stuff off. So if you're going to ping, wait for them to be near you, wait for them to have high HP, high mana, you know, a decent level, and then ping, and then just stop pinging. And then, you know, after that, don't ping when they're bot side. That just makes no sense. They're not going to be from bot side, the top side. Ping when it's ideal for them to help you.
It's essential to time your engage with your jungler so you don't get chunked before the gank occurs. Now, yes, you can do this to bait the enemy top laner, but you might have to blow your flash in the process and can still die doing so. I would recommend playing it safe and making it a 2v1 for as long as possible. Remember these tips for both sets of matchups, guys, and you will improve your top lane game massively and climb as a result. I know it. If you enjoyed the video and learned something from it, leaving a like would...
I will say I don't like him saying that you'll climb. I know it just from this. You'll improve, but improving in League doesn't mean you'll climb, and just being battling doesn't mean you won't climb, you know? So it's hard to say that you will improve off of something as generic as this, I guess you could say. Not generic, that's not the right word. As broad as this, because like you might not have any of these issues, or maybe you have these issues, but just fixing these aren't the reason why you're not climbing. But I will say, yeah, this is pretty solid. I mean, the video is pretty solid. I don't like the 6 easy ways to win at top every time. That's obviously a clickbait title to get you in, but luckily what he's, you know, spitting is pretty much facts in terms of what he's talking about. It just obviously is not the same as 6 easy ways to win. It's more like, you know, tips you need to know playing top lane. You know what I mean? But I guess it's not a crime to get you to click the video, but I'm glad that it kind of backed itself up in a way where it's like, I'm not feeding you BS. You're here for 6 easy ways to win top. It might not be easy, but you know, you're still learning things about top that will help you become better at winning the lane. You might not win top every time, which is one thing that like I said I don't like, but for the most part, I like everything about it. If I was to give this video a grade, I'd say B+. I would give it an A if it weren't for that win top every time title, man. I tell you. But content-wise, it was very good. Example-wise, it was very... It's like that ring guard. That dude, like the Vladimir just walked in. What was that? But there's nothing that made me think, oh, this only looks good because it's probably a low elo clip. Like nothing like that. It was straight to the point. It was talking about what it was talking about, and I like to see that. So, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. If you guys have any videos, remember to make sure you submit that bad boy to me, and we will go ahead and be watching them. I don't know if this is the same for all their videos. This is just the one video I think is very good quality for, you know, the type of companies that make YouTube videos for YouTube and stuff like that. This is very good. I don't know about the other ones, but this one is. So, like I said, if you guys have any questions, make sure you message me on Discord or in the comments. Thumbs up if you want to see more of this type of content. Make sure, remember, May 14th. That's it. That's the cutoff. So get those VODs in. Link in the description below for this video and for the VOD video. Or for the video to talk about the VODs or whatnot. Okay? So thank you guys for watching. Until next time, you know what I would say. Thank you for what? Approaching this like a coach.